I feel pretpretty good, guys. This is a monumentous. Is that a word?
Sure.
In my country,
it's a word. In fact, it is quite ironic or pretty special. Today happens to be the 3rd of September, which is a pretty important Temptations lyric. Please give it up for the one and only Dr. Otis Williams.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good now. I'm talking to you now.
Wow. And you know what? It's so ironic. I just got a text from a young lady talking about the 3rd of September. And like I had to text her back. I said, what's so killing about it? That is the truth about Dennis's father actually passed on the 3rd of September.
Is Dennis's dad actually died on the 3rd of September?
Yeah, it said it in the Bible.
Yeah, and that's why it was stated so in the play. That when the saint said, my daddy did really die on the 3rd of September. So, it's some truth to it.
That song, that song wasn't written for you guys originally, right? You guys did the second version of it that was the more popular hit, right? There was another
say
band.
It again, because somebody keeps calling me. Say it again. They keep beeping and it's interfering with my concentration.
Well, I was just like,
say it again.
I was saying that it's funny that the 3rd of September happened to be the day that Dennis's dad died, considering that the song was not originally written for you guys. You guys recorded the second version of it that happened to be the bigger hit.
No. Originally, it was written for us. We almost didn't do it because we were tired of that psychedelic soul. We wanted to go back to just my imaginations of the My Girls or Since I Lost My Babies. But Norman was so adamant about us recording. He said, guys, I promise you, it'll be a hit. So we went on and recorded it. But he laid it out there for us first. And then Norman, being Norman, he probably recorded on some other Motown act or what have you. But no, it was written for us with us in mind.
Okay. There was various versions of the song that released on different Motown artists at the time. That's the way that Motown machine worked back then. It seemed like one song was recorded by multiple acts.
Well, like Norman did. I heard it through the grapevine. Initially, it was written for Gladys Knight and the Pips, which they came out and had a big hit. Mm-hmm. Then Norman turned around and recorded it on Marvin Gaye, which he had a bigger hit than Gladys Knight. I think his single version of I Heard It Through the Grapevine did about 4 million copies. So, Norman was known for taking one song and do it on one artist and then take the same song, revitalize it or do something to it and put it on another artist.
And for the listening audience, the Norman he's referring to is Norman Whitfield, the Motown writer and producer.
Norman sound like
yes, sir.
Norman sound like a guy you might want to whoop his ass a few times.
No, only time we got confrontational verbal-wise was verbally was about Papa, but you have to know Norman. Norman was a sweetheart of a guy. Could be egotistical, and what have you, because him and I had been knowing each other since we were 19 years old, and he played tambourine on my first hit by Otis Williams in the distance called Come On. Well, Norman was playing tambourine, so to see him come from being a tambourine player to being noted as one of the most creative producers and songwriters in Motown was like a quantum leap.
Told y'all, let me play the triangle. Told y'all.
And Norman, there's a famous, promotional incident that occurred when you guys released the Masterpiece album.
Oh,
on the back, Norman's picture is bigger than the rest of you guys.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And like I said, to know Norman, Norman had a big ego.
Yeah.
But it took that album for us to say it's time for us to part ways, because when we listen at Masterpiece, we only did a small amount of singing, but everything else was all that orchestration. Right. So we said we had a great run with Norman, because we started out with Ain't Too Proud to Beg with Norman, and then when we really turned the corner on Cloud 9, we had about like 7 or 8 years of successful hit after hit after hit after hit with Norman. So, but like I said, I kind of knew the temperament of Norman, because we had been boys ever since we were 19 years old.
After Norman, your producer was Jeffrey Bowen, and you had a very successful album with him, with the Song for You album.
Right.
And that was a big album for you guys.
Sure was. Yeah.
And then the follow-up album after that, it didn't do as hot. And I think you only did 2 records in that period, because you guys did the Mellow Mood album with Jeffrey, right?
Tim's in a Mellow Mood.
Yeah, was that with Jeffrey Bowen as well?
No, him and Frank Wilson produced that. Yes,
okay.
Yeah, they produced that because Motown was grooming us for the Copacabana room and the smart rooms in Vegas and various other sophisticated places. So that's why they wanted us to do Tim's in a Mellow Mood. So Frank Wilson and Jeffrey Bowen, they produced that, and they picked out the songs and all. So yeah, he was good. But that second album after A Song for You, I told Jeffrey and I told Barry Gordy that album wasn't going to be about nothing. True enough, when they released it. When you listen to it don't have no Temptation harmonies. And Barry had called me up to his estate, and I said it again to Norman and Barry, and not Norman, but Jeffrey and Barry. And Jeffrey's belief was I wanted to give the Temps a different flavor and do this. I said, yeah, well, you don't mess with the Temps harmony. I said, we're known for our harmony and the way we do things far vocally, concerned. So true enough, the album didn't do nothing. One of our worst albums, as far as I'm concerned, that we ever made.
Wow.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Will.
This is Will speaking to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I had an argument with somebody one day, and I was telling them, even though these songs it's not y'all, I know it's not y'all, but the 5 Heartbeats, wasn't that movie based off of the Temptations a little bit?
No, we sat down, Shelley and myself, we sat and met with I can't think of the brother's name.
Robert Townsend.
And Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayne. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to give them a little brief synopsis about what it would take for a group and the thinking of a group and what have you. But no, because when I saw it, I said, I've been doing a lot of shows for a long time. I have never seen a group on stage start fighting.
Well, not that part. Of course, not that part. But like some parts of the story, if you watch the movies, both movies, it kind of resembles each other. I was like, this kind of remind me of the Temptations movie.
You know where he really got that from? A lot of the ideas. See, he got it from the Dales.
Yeah, the songs is the Dales.
Yeah, but when we made ours, that was a difference. But when I saw it, I said, well, okay, I love what he did, but I didn't see too much of the Temps in that, as far as I'm concerned. Because when I talked with him, he said, well, Otis, I did it. I kind of like the Dales because I think he's from Harvey, Illinois, which is where the Dales they're from. So that's the summation about that.
So to this day, and I know this is a thing that we've heard a bunch of times online and in your book, have you still not brought yourself to watch your own miniseries?
That's right. I saw the part where we checked in a hotel a few months ago when it was being showed, and I said, let me take a quick peek. And I saw the part about my son being told that I lost my son. And I said, okay, that's it. Can't look at it anymore. So I had yet to sit down.
Of all the parts to take a peek on.
That's the part you pick.
Well, my time we were coming checking in the hotel and it was on. I cut the TV on, it was on. So it was just one of those timing,
Yeah, I don't even like that half of the movie anyway. I really don't. I hate that half of the movie. Like it's since you didn't ever seen it, it's like when they put it out, it's like a 2-part miniseries of that movie, and I pretty much hate that half. That second half, everybody dies. Yeah. I don't like it.
He doesn't like the death.
Yeah.
I don't like none of it.
Well,
I miss Paul.
Yeah. Hey man, look, I lived it, so I hate to lose my guys. But that's life, bro. You be here 1 minute and you try to do what you can while you're here, but I hate it. losing Paul and Eddie and David, and definitely my boy Melvin, because him and I grew up together. He was 16 and I was 17. So from that point on until he passed, he was like my right hand man, So
and they showed that in the movie. They did. Yeah, they definitely showed that in the movie, man, and it was
heartfelt.
Yeah, it was heartfelt. You could tell. I mean, like you said, you never seen it, but yeah, they showed that was your right hand man in the movie too. He was
that's my boy, But and it was arthritis that took him out. He had a very bad case of rheumatoid arthritis, which broke down his system over time.
Because all the cortisone shots he was taking was breaking down
all the cortisone shots. It breaks down the immune system. Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
And it's known that the way his death was depicted in the movie is not the actual way that it really happened in real life, because it was a little too soon, right? We couldn't. It was a little too real for the television watching audience, right?
Well, yeah. We wanted to give it another kind of approach, because the way he actually passed, and when I went to see him for the last time in the Cedar Sinai, it was very tear-jerking kind of thing. So we did it as from what I was told. Young lady asked me, said, Otis did when no one went in the kitchen or what it does. We decided to do it that way. And I've learned what is meant by dramatic license to make it ebb and flow. So they did do that, just to give it another kind of ebb and flow and some kind of respectability of way Melvin really passed.
Which was great. I'm glad they did it that way.
Hey, Mr. Otis. This is Joe here, and I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question for you. So, does the attention and fame ever get tiresome to you at this point or in life, or do you still are you still honored basically by it, like the fact that people still show you love, or do you just want to be invisible a couple days out of the week?
No, I look at it like this: when we are up this earth. We come in to live life. It is a wonderful thing to be able to do something that you enjoy doing and bringing happiness to the world over. Mm-hmm. I never would imagine when I started out singing when I was about 14 or 15 years old. And here it is come January of next year, March of next year, it'll be 60 years. So my stock answer is I love it. I'm riding the horse. When I get off the horse will be bald from enjoyment of doing something, what I'm able to do. Because, when people say, well, like what you just said, the only real rough part of what we do that makes it kind of that will wear you down is the traveling. The performing in it is the easy part. Right. But it's the 9:00 in the morning leave. Oftentimes, not only us tops. Most artists, you got to leave God forgiven early morning to either ride on the bus all night till you get to the next place, or break day with a stick to get to the airport to fly to the next. Those are the things that really would weigh you down. Mm-hmm. But I've learned to try and get that rest. There's no thing of trying to get that rest. I mean, that's the real priority that I've tried to adapt to, and I thank God here I am, 77 years old and still jumping around like I'm 27.
All right,
absolutely.
Eating your greens, right? Huh? Your vegetables, like Mama said, huh?
I got a question. So, Mr. Otis, this is Shae from the podcast. One question I have. Okay. I've known. Well, it's been known that you've moved members out of the group and moved new members in. What is the qualifications for a person to become a Temptation?
Because Shae wants to know. He wants to fill out an application. That's what I was asking.
Oh, wow. I tell you, I'll tell you the real. See, when I tell people that ask me that, I say, I don't look at the talent first. And I would always get a quizzical kind of look like, what? You don't look for the talent? Let me tell you why I said that. I look for the head and heart. Mm-hmm. You can have all the talent in the world. Excuse me, I'm going to say it the way I feel it. If you're an asshole of a person, you will negate the talent.
Right.
I look for the head and heart.
Right.
That's what I go for first. I've been surrounded by talented people all my life, but it's the head and heart that really will help you make it through. Because talent is a necessary part to have, but it don't end there. And then, because the stars there, it don't end there. It's where your head is and how your heart pumps. Because it's a lot of give and take when you have to deal with as many people as I've had to deal with throughout my career. And I ain't just talking about the temps. I'm talking about my staffing. Right. And, that sometimes it gets up from 15 to 20 different people that's on payroll. Yeah. So, you have to learn how to, deal with people, but it's the head and heart talent there.
Right. Yeah, I remember when we came down to Atlantic City with Kyle to meet you, see you guys perform. And I remember you pulled us in the room and you was telling us about having character and just working and continuing. And I just want to say thank you for the past year and a half, I've stayed consistent, as you said in the room to us, to keep working, to keep shedding. And I've been consistent for the past year and a half. So I want to thank you for motivating me to get on that level.
Well, that's what makes it so nice for what I do, that I can pass on the knowledge to, guys and girls, such as yourself, right. Because I've been blessed with a wealth of knowledge and a lot of experience. So if I can instill it in someone else to help them along the way, that's what it's all about. Like I say, my two grandmothers raised me to always be respectful and think about others. I am not a selfish person, so I always try and, pass on knowledge, sit down and take time to talk, and just be me first, because my thinking is God let me come into this world as Otis Williams first. He blessed me to become a Temptation second. Right, so I'm Otis first. That's the success that I've had. That's a blessing by the way of God.
Right. I got another question.
I'll go ahead.
It's a two-part question real quick. Mr. Otis is once again, this is Will Wright. What is your favorite song you like to perform, and what's the song that you can't perform no more?
What's the song? My favorite song that I love by the Temps?
Yes. Which one you like to perform? I don't care who's singing or not.
Man.
And which one I can't do it because it's going to choke me up or something?
Well, my favorite one is, I have to say My Girl first, because, My Girl is over 50 years old, but even when we do it today, people start standing up like trees growing out of the ground. Just when they start hearing that boom, 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 boom. So
chill out. Chill out. We're going to bust out a song. Chill out.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one that I find hard, and we haven't performed it in quite some time, Soul to Soul. I don't know if you all have heard that one.
Of course I have. I have to hip them to that song, the rest of the guys here. But
yeah. They used to move us to tears, and Ollie would be into it, so that when we finished, a lot of times there was almost not a dry eye in the place, because that song was during the time of when the Tiananmen Square, where you would see that lone Japanese figure standing in front of this big tank, willing to be mowed down by a tank for his beliefs, and all other stuff that we were going through as people. So when we were doing it in person, people really related. And then when we finished, I would look out the audience and you would see wet eyes. People really being touched. So that one was really touching, but we haven't done that in Blows and Stretches. So those are the two that come to mind now. I'm a big Temptation fan. Don't get me started. I run off a litany of songs that I love, even if it wasn't by the Temps. But, we just been blessed to have such a heck of a discography that I can list a whole lot of songs about that I like.
How do you measure blows and stretches, by the way?
Blows and stretches, and it's a long stretch. So that's we used to say in Detroit, about man singing blows and stretches, So I'm working on a book called Otisisms, because I'm known for my sayings, and I'm going to call it From Amazing Grace to a Flowing Opportunity. And that's what my grandmother used to say when she was getting ready to whip my ass.
That's funny. Yeah.
Mr. Otis,
yeah,
what kind of advice would you give some up and coming singers? Like it could be anything from performance advice or like mental advice, like how to keep how to keep the negativity away. Anything that you would have.
I say the running thread of sameness is all the way through with any and everybody that's got aspirations to be in show business. You got to be dedicated. You got to be ready to deal with the the no's. Like I would tell people like you that they said, in life, you're going to get more no's than you will yes. Mm-hmm. But when you get that yes will be so on point that you'll really appreciate being baptized in fire with all those many no's. So you got to really want to do this, if it's singing or being an actor, a doctor, anything of dedication and purpose. You got to stay focused and be willing to understand you're going to get knocked. See, that's the way you find out that's when it has value, when it don't happen to you right away. If something comes to you really quick and you got no purpose. So, you didn't bust your behind to get it. It was given to you. But you have to stay dedicated and focused and don't give up, because we've gone through quite a bit, and I reflect back on my life story, and I guess that's why it's been such a success on Broadway, because it's just that way. Anything of importance, you got to dedicate yourself. Woodshed. I learned that from the old masters when we were coming up. Woodshed. Don't get discouraged. So I'm telling you, if it's something that you want to do, understand it's going to come at a price, but don't let it be when it price you, but you stop doing it. Stay dedicated and stay focused. It'll happen.
It's true.
We were talking about you were actually talking about Soul to Soul and the lead singer of the song, and also he was the lead singer for the, I guess you'd call it your comeback hit of the 1980s, Treat Her Like a Lady. And so Ollie Woodson, he's a magnificent lead singer. In fact, in talking with other members of the group, a lead singer that a lot of Temptations lead singers after him looked up to vocally. They try to, David Ruffin was a fantastic lead singer. No one could ever be like him. Oh Dennis Edwards, a fantastic lead singer. No one ever could be like him. Ollie Woodson, a fantastic lead singer, doesn't get his name out there. Like, he's not mentioned in the Broadway musical. He's not mentioned in the TV miniseries. But he is oftentimes a lead singer that lead singers after him emulate. I mean, you've had 24 different members in your group.
26.
26? I'd say.
Yeah, with Larry and Willie.
Okay, I thought it was 24 with Larry and Willie, but I may have mistaken.
It was. No, it's 26. I got to have them added to my picture that a friend of mine did of all the guys that's been in the group. But I think my career, and like I said, when you're talking about 60 years, you try and grab some of what you can out of those 60 years. Naturally, the focal point will always be the original Temps all the way up to Dennis. Ollie came along during the 80s, and he was a hell of a performer and singer, because him and I, like you said, wrote Treat Her Like a Lady, and we did quite a few songs together. But I think it's just it falls under the time period, the period of time that you might be speaking of, because 60 years, you can just grab from anywhere, but most cases, like even in the play, they're focusing on, the original Temps all the way up to Dennis, so Papa was a Rolling Stone and what have you. But it's just how you want to approach it and what you want to think about. But Ollie, bad boy.
Right.
Bad brother, in the good sense. Brother could sing his behind off, and him and I would sit down and write songs, and I miss Wood. He called me Pookie Poo, and I called him Woodman.
I don't think no grown man should be calling him.
No, I call him Woody Woo.
Woody Woo. But so what a lot of people don't know is that your most successful album release came out in 1998, Phoenix Rising.
For real?
Yeah. Phoenix Rising has it's like double platinum now. You're right. Big album. And let me ask you this: do you think that the and I don't mean to imply anything about anyone who came before, but do you think that the turnover that you guys had in your group lended itself to continued success as the times had changed and an R&B as music has changed? Like, by that I mean, in '98 you had Terry Weeks, Theo Peoples, Barrington Henderson.
Yeah.
And I mean, Terry Weeks is still in the group, but I mean, like, at that time, these were I guess you'd say more contemporary R&B voices of the '90s in the group. It brought in a little bit of youth to the sound. Do you think that maybe it was a bittersweet thing, but could you say that the turnover rate really did help you in musical longevity and staying relevant?
Well, something, we never looked at it like that. All we ever want to do is just sing. Fortunately for me, I've always been surrounded by guys that could sing anything. If they wanted us, like I do a little spiel before we do a couple of songs from our latest album, Temptations All the Time. Well, when we started out singing, man, David, Eddie, Paul, Melvin, and myself, we would rehearse and warm up on gospel songs. We would do Swan Silvertones. We would do Sam Cooke when he was with the Soul Stirrers. So that's what because we're all Southern boys. And when you got guys that could sing like David, Eddie, Paul, Melvin, and Dennis, we would rehearse anything and sing those kind of songs to warm up on. So I've just been very blessed to be able to sing. Have guys around me if we had to sing jazz, if we had to sing gospel, if we had to sing pop, or straight up. I got somebody in the Temps that can do that, and that's been the strength of the Temps, that we were very adaptable for whatever producers would come up and say, "Hey, I heard this here song, and I think you guys would do it." Because in fact, Gil Lasky, who was our at one time our conductor, he heard us doing some gospel, and he wanted to do a gospel album on us. Well, at the time, gospel wasn't as popular as it has become now. But Mr. Gordon said, no, we'll come back to that later, Gil. The Temps got to do some R&B pop, but we could sing some gospel. And when you listen to Temps in the Malibu, we sing a 5-part harmony, kind of like the 4 freshmen, except it's 5 of us. So I've been just blessed to have some strong guys that can sing anything, and a lot of groups don't have that.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Otis, not to cut you off. So have you ever had like a big show or been on tour and then you lost your voice? And if so, like what did you do to bring it back?
Well, fortunately for me, my voice, it gets tired, because all of us, because when you sing night after night, you have to get that rest, But Dennis, there's been times, when Dennis would get hoarse, because Dennis was such a hard singer, and he was a powerful singer, so there were times that he would, get that way. But you just gonna do. You just still fight on through it. And most cases, the audience would understand. As long as you getting up there and you're giving them what you got, that they can feel, even with your hoarseness, that you're really reaching out to let them know, I might not be in the best of voice, but I'm gonna try and give you the best of the show. And the audience, they could sense that then, way back then, and they damn sure can sense it now, because you're dealing with a very knowledgeable audience now. The audience now, they're very tuned in. They can look in your face and say, nigga, please, you ain't singing.
You ain't even singing for real.
So they can tell right off which is good. We like it that way because, you can't fake the funk, and that's great. Yeah.
So your life story is again being immortalized. It was previously immortalized on film. Now it's being immortalized on stage. Ain't You Proud? Life and Times of the Temptations has been a big hit on Broadway for like the past year, and even in its embryonic stages it was breaking records as it was making its way to Broadway. Between Berkeley, DC, LA, Toronto, or wherever it was in Canada.
Yeah. Well, it's still doing the same thing. I got a call from 6 young ladies that came from different parts of the country, and they all met up in New York. So they texted me back and they said, Otis, your play is down almost 3 blocks long. And when the shows that they just saw, they said they were getting 10-minute standing ovations. Then you would look around and people were crying because of the sentimentality of what was happening in certain parts of it. So it's still doing a great business. In fact, July of next year, it's getting ready to go to 100 cities across the country. So it's beginning. It's going to be a road show in a minute. Now the cast in New York, they will be there. That's a mainstay. So the producers are gathering another group of talented kids to take it on the road. And then from there, we are going to open up in London. So it's just beginning to do what it's supposed to do, or continue doing what it's doing. So I'm just a blessed person. Like I said, I never would imagine that the Temp's life story would be so impactful that people just love it. And like Shelley said, he said, "Oh, it's the story." He said, "The Temptation has got such a rich story." He said, "You have lived something that's very interesting." And I'm thankful to God because I'm here to see it. A lot of times people get the accolades and they're no longer here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm blessed to be able to see it and enjoy it. And so I don't take it for granted. I'm very thankful that I'm still able to see what is happening, with the Temp's history.
Did you see the play?
Oh, yeah.
And
I've seen a play over half a dozen times and getting ready to go and see it about a couple of weeks now because we got a new cast member and I want to see how he's working out.
All right. Better be doing good. Better be doing it right.
How is it different watching your life portrayed on stage than compared to watching it on screen? Like, how can you stomach watching all these events, these tragedies appear before your eyes? And I'm sure you feel it more in person when it's real people on stage in front of your face.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But but you still can't watch the movie.
Yeah, well, see, the movie, I don't have to, I'm not being forced to. My play, I'm not being forced to about my play, but I have to be there to see that. The producers put out all that money. They want me to be there. I want to be there, and then I talk with the cast, give them words of encouragement. So it's a different kind of setup, the play. I sat there when I first saw it up in Berkeley, and I take that back when I saw it in its embryonic stages in New York City. And they were just beginning to really start rehearsing it. And they just did the first half because the director, Des McAnuff, said, "Well, Otis, we won't let you see the second half because it gets heavy."
Yeah.
So when I saw the first half,
I said, yeah, because it's probably just like they did the movie. The first half is so beautiful. That second half is heavy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, when I first saw the first half, the whole cast gathered around me, and I actually told the guys and the girls, I said, you all moved me to tears. And one of the guys that's playing the Temp said, "Oh, Mr. Williams, well, if you crying already and we haven't finished, that's a sign there's going to be a hit." I said, "I hope so." And then another guy that's playing the Temp said, "Well, grown men cry. We cried too." I said, "Well, you damn right, because that's what I was doing over there, sitting up there watching now." So it's a true testament of seeing what's happening. And it was really the young lady that wrote it, Desiree McAnuff. She did a great job, writing it. They sat down and asked me all kind of questions, and I gave them, all the info. And they asked me one thing that I sat there, and the director said, "Otis, tell me, have you ever had to go to that deep, dark, introspective place within yourself?" And I sat there and I said, "Yes." He said, "Tell me about it." And when I told him about the part that was touching, as I'm sitting there, the young lady that wrote it, she grabbed my right arm and she was rubbing my arm. She said, "That's all right, brother. That's all right. Go on and tell us." And this was back during the 60s, and now this was like 2000 when they asked me this. So it lets me know that, it still lays buried deep, dormant, but still there. And when I recomposed myself, I said, "Des, why did you ask me that?" He said, "Otis, your life story ain't going to be just about the music and y'all dancing." He said, "We have got to touch the human emotion, the spirit, let them feel it." When I saw the play, I saw what Des was talking about because it really touched me so that people were sitting in the audience. And like I said, the young lady just texted me 3 days ago and said, "We were crying 1 minute, we were standing up, they were dancing. We got 10 minutes standing ovations throughout the play." And that's the kind of thing that we wanted, the ebb and flow of the different emotions about the Temp's life story. And now it's just a matter of time till it'll be going. They'll possibly be going for to the theaters and they're talking about making a movie out of it.
Oh, another movie.
That'd be great. Now, I got a question that's kind of off the Temptations a little bit for you. I don't know. I think all the other cast members would like to know, what in the hell did you see in Kyle to sign him?
Yeah. Well, I didn't catch it. What the hell did I see who?
In Kyle.
In me. He wants to know what you see in me to sign me.
To sign
I'm talking about Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh, no, man. Look, Kyle is a sleeping giant, That brother's talented. We were in Atlantic City, last year or year before last, probably now. And we did our little sound check, and then I went back to my room. And somehow or another, I think Kyle gave me a tape of him doing some of our medley. And I said, now, I've been watching this young man for a few years. I never knew he had that kind of time. He was moving good. And I said, boy, you've been hanging around black folks here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he like black women. That's
Our whole cast is black.
The whole class.
Well, he love black women.
Yeah. You got to watch him.
Stutter, mutter, no flutter. He loves black women.
Yeah, he do.
I want him to got hold of you there, boy. You don't make no bones about it, yeah. But Kyle, he can sing. I mean, he's a talent. Mm-hmm. I would still be invested in him, but this Temptation thing of the group, and now that the play is doing it as such, and I have to forever refocus, because when Kyle called me a few minutes ago, we're getting ready to do an auto book about the Tim Flash story. So I was talking with my promotion girl, and she was telling me this and that, and so I'm still getting a lot of things concerning the play. So yeah. I'm not gonna complain. It'd be like me crying with a loaf of bread under my arm.
Right. It's funny because I'll tell you guys, Otis was telling me a story. Right after we did the music video for Here I Am, the song that Otis and I wrote, Otis was showing somebody, it was some lady, the music video. And I think what you said, was that the woman said to you, this is great, but there's all black women in this video. And you said to her, he's like, well, you have to know Kyle.
Yeah.
On that note, next time you go to the see the musical, tell Nasia I said, what's up?
I will definitely do, because I'm going into New York next month, because I'll be going into New York for the play, and plus we got a gig.
Well, call me when you get up.
So I was. Huh?
I said, this is Will Wright. Call me when you get up there, and I'm gonna come and watch the play with you.
Oh, well, that'll be all right with me.
All right.
Yeah. So
y'all heard it here now.
So Kyle, huh?
You said y'all heard it here now.
Yeah, I heard it.
You just put it in writing. Is pretty much what you said.
When I get to the door, don't have no people talking about I need a ticket now. I'm like, he said he invited me.
Yeah. Well, but Kyle, I'm gonna have to get up. I'm gonna have to raise up like yeast.
Raise up like, what does that mean?
I gotta go.
You gotta go. Yeast like bread.
Gotta go. Yeast raises.
Yeah, Cal not all the way black.
Cal ain't never made no bread before. He don't know.
He don't really know.
But we know what you mean.
We know exactly what the hell you meant, Mr. Otis.
Well,
his white side
Kyle,
kicked in.
Around all that black, Kyle, you around all that blackness. You better pick it up, boy, because we loaded.
Right.
I've always considered myself to be off. I've always considered myself to be off-white. That's not necessarily black. So
yeah, it's a little dingy.
Ivory.
Well, but your soul and spirit is black, boy.
Yeah,
all right. Well, we know we got to go. Thank you so much, Otis Williams, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, talking with y'all. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Same.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back with more TriJam, folks.
All right.
That my dad